and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay Moore here, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. And today, here's what we're talking about on the podcast: why it's so hard to get started. Why is it so hard to get started? I'm going to take you, to a place where you're very familiar. We're going to talk about an age. This is an age-old metaphor. It's not even a metaphor, but something that we can look at. And we're also going to look at two of the forces that actually help us get there, or those forces keep us from getting there. So guys, look, if you haven't joined the Good Accounting Challenge coming up in just a few days, go to goodaccountingchallenge.com. Why should you go to the Good Accounting Challenge and actually be a part of it? Here's why. This is the premier challenge that's going to walk you through how you can basically become a business owner, or really understand what business ownership really means, so that you can create an idea, connect to the idea, communicate the idea, manage the idea, and ultimately implement all the stuff that you need to do in your business. So you want to definitely join the next Good Accounting Challenge, which is coming up December the 12th. All right, so let's jump right into this. Why it's so hard to get started? So I'm going to take you to the airport. Familiar with the airport? I'm going to take you to the airport. Just imagine yourself, you're going on a trip, you're going to get on the plane, and you're on the plane. Now, do we understand what has to happen to get that huge piece of steel up into the air? Lots of things have to happen to get that huge piece of steel up into the air. And prior to getting off the ground, what's the pilot and the co-pilot doing? They're probably sitting there checking everything. Hey, let's make sure that this is working and that is working and this is working and that is working. And let's make sure the air pressure is right. And let's make sure, all the gauges are working. Let's make sure they're going through a checklist of probably, 10, 50, 100 things before they get up in the air. Remember, they're going high. That airplane is going to go high. And that airplane has to fight in order to get off the ground. Now, before we kind of really look at what's happening here, let's think about a business. Let's think about some places you would like to go in your life. You have a huge goal in your life. It's funny, I was going to the gym this morning. Hey guys, let me tell you, man, when it's like 25 degrees outside, today was probably a running day. I decided I wasn't going to run. I wanted to actually get more resistance than just running. So I said, I'm going to go to the gym. And, it's funny, right? Because my wife texts me. She texts me just before I got to the gym, says, "Oh my goodness, it's 25 degrees outside." Now, for those of you that already live somewhere that's cold, that may not be that bad, but that's pretty cold, right? That's under freezing. So you don't want to be standing outside for a long time. So I got to the gym, and I'm going to tell you, every day there's a force that's asking me, hey, maybe you could just turn around and go back home. You don't feel like doing any of this. Because I don't. But I'm going to introduce you to what we call inertia. Are you familiar with inertia? Inertia is the force that most people are in before they start doing something. Say it again. Inertia is the force that most people are in before they start doing something. An object at rest will stay at rest until is acted upon by an outside force. So something has to act on you. Something has to act on something in order to make it move. So here it is. I'm getting out of the car. And the first thing I said was, I'm going to work. Yeah, I'm going to run. I'm going to run for about 15 minutes on that treadmill. But you know what? I'm going to run for 20 minutes on the treadmill. If I was outside, I'd probably be running for 35, 40 minutes. So I'm going to run for 20 minutes on the treadmill. I'm going to push myself a little bit. I'm going to do some sprints. Well, because a lot of times on my treadmill, I get bored. So I'll run, I'll walk, I'll sprint, I'll run, I'll walk, I'll sprint. So I'm just trying to get my head right while I'm on there. Because remember, when you haven't been doing something, even the person that's doing something, you got to get started again. So remember, it's hard to get started. But the outside force for me going into the gym was I was already moving towards it. See, momentum is the other thing. Momentum is an object in motion stays in motion unless something stops the momentum. These are the two forces that we all need if we're going to start something. These are the two forces that we all need if we're going to continue to do something, because we have to understand, we have to know what the forces are going to, how these forces are going to work for us. Inertia won't work for you. It's not going to work for you, because inertia says that basically you're not going to do anything. You're just going to sit there and you're going to look around and you're going to wonder, well, why is everybody else moving and I'm not? Because something hasn't acted upon you. Ask yourself this question. What was my goal at the beginning of the year? Look, I'll be honest, I have not reached my goal. I have not reached, and I'm going to use finances. I haven't reached my financial goal. I have not reached my financial goal. It's not because I'm not moving, right? It's not because I'm not moving. So we have to then ask ourselves, if I am moving, then something may be pulling me away from where it is that I'm trying to get to. And that's in a whole nother podcast. We're not going to talk about that today. So let's think about this inertia before we really move into momentum. We're going to talk about that airplane, because that's going to really drive this home. So inertia, which is that force, right? It's that force that it's like me sitting here until something inside me says, get up and go start moving in a different direction. I'll sit here in this chair. So in our business, in our life, in the things that matter the most to us, we will continue to do the same things over and over unless something actually acts upon us from the outside, from something on the outside. Well, it could be something on the inside. It could be you just realizing, like I think I was sharing, like when it comes to a mindset of the business owner, you got to be willing to stop, especially if you're already in business and you're hitting your head against the wall. You got to be willing to say, wait, let me stop. Let me hold up. Something ain't right here. I ain't gonna do nothing. Let me figure out, well, why is this not working? So we got to figure out what that force has to be. A lot of times that's what we have to figure out. Now, let's go back to the airport. So we're at the airport in that plane. We're on the plane. We're oblivious to all the stuff that this plane is doing. We're not in the cockpit. We're not watching what that what the co-pilot and the pilot. We're not watching it at all. But we do notice that when it's time to take off, there are some procedural things that has to take place, and it's standard. Think about the standard operating procedures that you would need, right? If you're starting a business, if you're in a business, if you have a desire to move in a direction. Remember, you're in inertia right now. You don't have any momentum going towards this target. And so here it is. Here it is, the plane. Like, all right, we done checked all the boxes. We done gone through all the procedures. Now everybody sit down, let's go. So it was an inertia, but now he said, you know what? We're going to move. What is the force? The force needed to get to the point where this plane is flying. Force. There's think about the force that you need to get off the ground, to get, if you haven't started a business and you wanted to get to $250,000, if you already at $250,000, you want to get to $1 million, and from $1 million to $10 million, $10 million to 100, all those progressions, it's going to require force. See, a lot of times what happens is we never get enough force to get off the ground. I've experienced this many years. I can tell you that sometimes you can get up and come down. You're not going to get to 40,000 feet. 40,000 feet, you are flying. You are in serious momentum. But like 10,000 feet, totally different. 5,000 feet, totally different. 500 feet, totally different. You in jeopardy because you still close to the ground at 500 feet. 100 feet, you real close to the ground, man. Like you may be crashing into buildings at 100 feet. So we have to really get the force up. That plane is designed to get in the air. They designed it that way. So all right. So if you were trying to get started, or if you were already started and you want to get to a momentous place in your business, what are you going to need to do? You're going to need to stop, set some procedures. One. Then you're going to figure out, you have to figure out, okay, what's how can I design how I'm going to get up in the air? You got to design it. It's not going to be by happenstance. No one gets to momentum just because they said they were going. No, it's not happening. You have to design the path to get up in the air. Like literally, that's all I've been thinking about. Momentum in the air. So in 2023, we are soaring. We're getting this Good Accounting Challenge off the ground. This is like a start over. This is like a do-over because this is not accounting services. So we've been doing accounting services and tax services all these years, but this is not that. This is something totally different. This is a mentorship. This is a coaching. This is a program where we help people get off the ground. But here's the thing. We getting off the ground first because it's new. So we had to stop. We had to realize, well, how are we going to design this thing to get up in the air? That's what you have to do. So think about this today. It's hard to get started. It's hard to get started because an object at rest stays at rest until it's acted upon by the outside force. Now you've been acted upon. I'm acting upon you. So now you know. So to get into momentum, it's like marching. You just got to start marching. You just have to start marching. You can't worry about whether or not you're already in momentum. You can't worry about whether or not you're already off the ground. You can't worry about whether or not you're already at 40,000 feet. You have to say, well, boots on the ground. Let me just go. Let me just go. Because remember, when I'm on that treadmill this morning and I'm walking at 3.3, then I run at 6.2, then I walk at 3.4, then I run at 8.0, then I come back down and run at walk at 3.4, then I run at 9.0, then I come back down to 3.3, and then I run at 6.2, and I come back down and run. All right. So what's happening is it's getting easier to go faster. It gets easier to go faster when you just get started. It's hard to get started, but when you get started, it's not hard to stay moving. If you're going to take something away today, so you're going to take away. When you get started, it's not hard to stay moving. You just have to stay moving. All right, guys, look, if you have not registered for the Good Accounting Challenge coming up in about 10 days on December the 12th, go get registered for the challenge. This challenge is the premier challenge that's going to help you to connect yourself as the business owner to your business idea, help you to communicate this idea, help you to manage that idea, help you to implement all the stuff that you need to do. That's why you want to join the Good Accounting Challenge, because this accounting is not the accounting that you hate. This is all the accounting that you love. So guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. And if you know somebody, tell them about the Good Accounting Challenge. Let them know, hey, you should join the Good Accounting Challenge. Hey, it is free to join. I mean, you could have a VIP, be in the VIP, that costs some money, but it's at least free. You could spend, basically, it's like 5 hours of your time to develop, getting started, keeping moving, getting momentum in your business. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the I AFYL Podcast. Jay Moore, I'm the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.